Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Yesterday, I received a reminder from Facebook about where I was, what I was doing, and who I was with. And today, that person who I was with, Roland Friedl, is here with me today on Unscripted. Let's welcome him as we chat a little bit about our meeting in person a year ago. Hello, Roland. Welcome.
Hello, Dr. Jacalyn. Great to see you.
Thank you. Great to see you as well. Well, can you believe it's been a year?
Yeah, time is running. Amazing. Yeah, it was June last year, end of June last year in Vienna.
In Vienna. What a beautiful city. And you were the ultimate tour guide. I have to say, you did a fantastic job showing me all of the sights and just chatting and being with your beautiful dog. It was a lovely time.
Yeah, thank you. It was great to have you there. And yeah, Vienna is a beautiful city. I spent there 14 years, actually. I've been living in Vienna 14 years. And yeah, it's sort of, you know, when you love culture, when you love architecture, opera, and all this stuff, and museums, and sitting in nice cafes, Vienna is the place to be, absolutely.
And the food was outstanding.
Sorry?
The food was outstanding.
Yeah, the food, yeah, you know, the food is very good and the coffee is good. I know you don't drink coffee, you're a tea drinker, I'm a coffee drinker. Yeah, Vienna is a lovely city. It's quite safe. It changed a little bit the last year with a lot of immigrants, but it's quite changed. It's clean. It's a clean city. There's not a lot of garbage around. And yeah, it's a beautiful spot. So more and more tourists are coming every year.
One of my memories that was really fun to look back on, and since this is unscripted, I'll just bring it up. But it was basically when I flew in from, I don't know where I was. I took the train. I think it was in Milan. I'm not sure, but I was somewhere and I traveled in by air or train. And then I had to go from, I think it was the airport. I had to go from the airport to the Airbnb, and it ended up, it was excruciatingly hot. And then the path, which should have been rather simple from where you get out of the tram, that's what it was. To get from the tram, it was so interesting because it's coming back to me now. To get into the tram, I had to go down these long flight of stairs, 2 flights of stairs, and I had 2 suitcases. One was a giant suitcase, a regular size suitcase, and my tote bag. And there was no way, Roland, I was by myself. There was no way I was getting down those steps because I couldn't hold on to anything. So I thought, I'll throw it down and I'll just crawl down to the bottom. And then out of nowhere, these 2 guys came and they carried them down for me. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's challenging with luggage to travel inside Vienna, of course. You know, it's an old city, a lot of steps. Then a lot of roads are small, especially small roads small streets under repair. It's challenging with luggage, 100%, yes.
It is. And then after I arrived, I had to go from, it was this upscale mall that had the tram station in it, and I had to walk to the Airbnb, but the path was all ripped up. And so I was walking like this, pulling the bags, dripping. It was just pouring off of me. And thank goodness I had on my jazzy sneakers, because if I had on heels, I never would have made it.
I remember it was a hot day. You know, normally I would love to pick you up at the airport, because I was working in France, because one of my clients, they moved the training I had to deliver to their stuff 2 weeks later. So it was actually on the day the day when you arrived, the day before I finished. So I finished my workshop at 5 p.m. and then I was driving 14 hours with my motorhome from France to Austria.
I remember.
Yeah. 3 hours of sleep and then meet you in a hot town.
Yeah, I remember, because you told me you wanted to pick me up, but you couldn't because you were traveling. And so it ended up, it just was a funny scenario when you look back. But you know what? I would definitely go back in a heartbeat. I really enjoyed it and I will go back. So I think it's important to travel, and I think it's important to meet people. You and I have been working together for, I guess it was 3 years, because now I think it's 5, isn't it?
5 years now, yeah. It was 4 years when we were there.
5 years. And it's just so nice to meet somebody in person and give them a hug and sit across from them and actually see, was the energy you were feeling, was it accurate? And so it was. And you continue to always inspire me and amaze me. You've done so much. And even here at our platform, we stopped counting, I think, at 500 shows. I don't know how many shows it is, but just so many. Yeah. So, Roland, what would you say are some of the key things that you've learned? And by the way, there's no script. I have no idea what I'm asking and no idea what he's going to say. But what are some of the things that you learned since you became a TV show host with so much experience now?
My main learnings. Oh, good question. You know, I was a newbie, by the way, absolutely newbie. Well, actually, I started here with, became a guest first. Well, I was a guest of one of the show. I guess it was The Journey of My Life by John Christian. I became a guest. And then you contacted me and offered me this opportunity. I have to say, I used to stay on large stages talking to thousands of people. But being a TV host in streaming TV is a totally different experience, because when you stand on a stage, well, depending when you're 10,000 people, you don't see anything because the lights are flashing, you don't see anything. But when you're in front of a smaller audience, you see the reaction of the audience. Yeah, if you do a good talk, if they're smiling, maybe they're laughing, maybe they're making a joke or something like that. But when you're broadcasting, you have no idea who is watching, who is listening. You don't see any reaction if they love the topic, if they're inspired, or they fall asleep or whatever. It's a totally different experience. But what I learned is, yeah, just keep going. If you don't know what's going to happen, just keep going. Bring the best value for the audience, inspire them. And I think the most important thing I learned is that the first seconds or maybe the first 2 minutes are critical to inspire the people to stay with you, because, you know, streaming TV, they can move to another channel, or because people are watching TV whenever they have time. So that's why mainstream media is dying, because people want to watch when they have time. So you have to inspire them or even motivate them or give them a kick in the first 2 minutes. And that's what I learned, is that the start is very, very important. Of course, afterwards too, but the start is very, very important. And the other thing is, it's all about the audience. It's not about me, about the host. It's all about the audience. And when there's a guest on the show, of course, it's all about the guest. What I learned is, the interesting thing is, most people, when I talk to people about becoming a TV host, they tell me, yeah, I'm too shy. I don't want to talk in front of an audience, whatever. And I say, you know what? It's not about talking. It's more about listening. It's more about listening what the guest is saying, what drives the guest, and it's also more about listening in a more, how to say, abstract form to the audience, what the audience is interested in. That's what I learned. It's all about listening.
Excellent points. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. And you were paying attention during the training too. So thank you. You know, one thing in alignment with what you said is, if you think about any of the streaming platforms, like let's say Netflix, for example, and you go on there and they've got the movie trailer. If that trailer doesn't catch your eye, you're not going to watch it. And I'll find myself going, boring, next, boring, next. So it is important to get people's attention. But Roland, sometimes people think the way to get someone's attention is to say something controversial or something filled with hate. And what people don't realize is you're going to distance yourself from a good portion of the audience, whatever that might be. People are looking for enjoyment, for education. And are there people who are looking for controversy? I'm sure, but that's not what we're about here. So I just want to thank you for recapping exactly what it is that we do here and for being such a big part of it. So what have you learned, I guess, about yourself personally? Because you already had experience, right? You were already on stages, as you had mentioned. And so it's not like this was a completely new concept, but when you do it yourself, for example, when you were doing Talking Heads and you had several shows, now you're doing 2 German shows a week. You're doing this show with me, It's Your Healthy Lifestyle. And you're also a producer. You're producing shows for other people. So what are some of the things you learned about yourself, especially given that you are traveling, you are in your motorhome going through Europe, you're not sitting at a desk somewhere?
Oh, good question. I mean, yeah, sometimes it's challenging, like myself, when you travel all the time. And I told you backstage, I actually, today, 6 in the morning, I brought my motorhome, my ROV, to the dealer. So it will be there for hopefully not too long, 10 days or 14 days to repair some stuff. So I had to move my whole setup, my whole studio into the caravan of my partner. And I said, hopefully it's working here and hopefully the network is good. So what's the challenging thing for me is it's not building up the studio, the setup. There's always a way to handle it. It's more about the network. It's the network capability. That's the challenging thing. But to be honest, I love what I'm doing. I'm always excited about every single show, every single talk show we are doing. I'm so excited about it, to bring something new to our audience. I just love it. So I always try to make it possible. And I repeat myself 100 times. I know it, but I always say when the why is strong enough, the what and the how is not a large issue. Sometimes it is, but you're motivated, but there's no network. Okay, that can happen. But what I learned about it is, even when I live this free lifestyle, traveling around, is being also structured, because I have to plan ahead. Okay, next Tuesday, there is this and this show. Next Sunday is this and this show. Okay, make sure that you find a spot where you stay safe. No police knocking on the door. You can park here. What happens occasionally. And the other thing is what I mentioned is having a capable network that is fast enough so I can stream and broadcast. That's one thing what I learned. The other thing what I learned is, how can I express this? Is because, when you're a person like myself, and a successful businessman, you're always on stages. People love what you're doing, clapping all the time. I was that thousands of people are clapping all the time. And then you start broadcasting, no one is clapping because you don't see and hear your audience. That's one thing. Don't take yourself too serious. You're not the most important person in the world. Yeah, of course, you can make a difference, but don't take yourself too serious. Make a good job, really a good, decent job that your audience is learning something. When there's a guest on the show, the guest feels happy, acknowledged, and heard. And that's my learnings.
They're really terrific. Thank you. Very profound. One thing that I've also noticed, whether it's here or just in life, it's that bell-shaped curve. You're going to get a certain amount of people, whatever it is, if you're a team of people. Certain people are just like, let me show off, let me do something. Other people are like, you know what? I'm going to make this a priority, and that's you. You're in that top 10% where you have to really think about where you're going to be. I mean, sometimes you've told me you had to pull over on this small road with this giant motorhome someplace so that you could get Wi-Fi. You've got multiple different cards and ways. And some people are sitting at a desk and they don't make it a priority. So I do think there's always going to be that 10% of people who, I can't broadcast today. I can't, I've got to reschedule. And then there's you on the opposite who's like, you know what? This is a priority and I'm making it happen. And I just want to thank you for that, because you could be doing anything with your time and you're spending a lot of it here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the feedback. That's me. I'm committed. I'm a loyal person. I'm committed. And when I do something, I do it 100%. This is this is my own expectation on myself that I have on myself. And I said, what I learned over the last decades is becoming the best version of myself, even when somebody's not listening and not seeing me and not in audience. I want to call it best version. Actually, my partner yesterday said, you know what, my mom, she loves you, what you're doing for your auntie. And I said, huh? What do you mean? Yeah, that's outstanding. I said, for me, it's normal. That's not normal. So, yeah, but it's for me because this is my standard, this is my standard. And I remember when I was in my end 20s, I don't know where it was. I was on a seminar. I attended a seminar, and the trainer there said, okay, define your own standards based on your value system. Yeah. And then go for it no matter what's happening. Your value system is your baseline, and then define your own standard. And then live according to your own standards. That's what I'm doing since almost 40 years.
It's ingrained in you. And I realized that when I met you, you were a perfect gentleman. I mean, you can just tell things about people that other people never actually get. And somebody will say, well, I wasn't taught that when I was growing up. Well, at some point, you have to take accountability for your own actions. You can't keep blaming on mommy and dad. You have to say, I'm a certain age now, and I'm going to be responsible for myself. So you were also an author. And when I met you, you hadn't published any books yet, but now that's different. Tell us about your work as an author.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I have a cold drink. It's Elder. It's Elder's juice. It's so hot. It's hot here.
Yeah.
And it's covered because there's a lot of bees around,
So it's fresh.
It's fresh. It's cold. Yeah, Elder juice. Anyway, okay, I became an author. Well, this was quite a journey, because, imagine you're standing on stage in front of thousands of people. Everybody believes that you're on every level. You have a self-esteem, and I'm a person with a high self-esteem, but not on publishing. To be honest, it was always a dream to publish my own book since I was a student. And I remember as a kid, I was writing poems, I was writing song texts, I was playing in a band, so I was writing song texts and stuff like that. And then I started my first book. Thanks for sharing. The Innovation Edge, which is released in English and in German also, the English and German version. And I wrote this years ago, and I asked a friend of mine if he can read it and help me, and it took me another year. So actually, I finished this book 4 years before I published it. And then our dear friend and colleague, Red, he gave me a lot of hints and huge support. Thank you, Red, by the way. And he helped me to publish these 2 books. And in the meantime, I was writing the other book, the third one you see on the screen, a German book that is published by a publishing house. And I was very, very proud that the first publishing house that we contacted said, yes, we do it. But I'm not, to be honest, I'm not very happy with them anyway. But this is Papa, Daddy, where are, it's in German, and it says, Papa, wo bist du? It means, Daddy, where are you? There are over 20 stories from over 20 people I know personally from 7 different countries, men and women, who wrote down their own story about missing their dad because he was not present at all, or he was not mentally present, or whatever, so different stories. And for me, it was really a healing and a release of letting go my dad, who passed away in 2020, and we had a very, very bad, or even, I wouldn't say a bad relationship, we didn't have a relationship at all, I think. But it was a good healing journey for myself to forgive my dad, because what I learned is when I have this anger within me and I don't accept my dad, I don't accept half of mine, because half of my being, half is my mom, half is my dad. So it was a healing journey to write this book, and more books are coming. So I finished 2 books almost now, but I take my time to publish them. I love this journey of writing, to be honest. I don't know, but I know when you published more than 20 books, you got 24, 27, something like that. I love writing books. The publishing thing is another thing, the editing and all the stuff. I don't like this one, but yeah, it's like it is. But it's an amazing journey, 100%. How about you in writing?
It is really special to have a book in your hands. And, it's funny. I always order the author copies of my books, and there were a few that should have been delivered a couple months ago, and I went the other day and there was this box from Amazon, and there's one thing in it, and it was this book. It was the only thing in there, and I noticed on the back there was now this spine, which wasn't on the other ones, and I thought, I wonder how that happened. I mean, obviously I must have made it happen, but I didn't remember. But when I saw it with the spine, I thought, that's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about that. So I don't think the excitement goes away, but I also found, and I'd love to know your thoughts on this, even though I have written, I don't even know, because I did some coloring books. I want to say 26 or 28 books. I'm still writing another book and then another book, because I feel like my journey evolves. And every time I am traveling or I am thinking or I meet people, like this book, for example, I get ideas. And so here's one of the books that I wrote. It's about alley cats of Greece. And I actually was in Greece last year twice, and I saw all these cats just running all over the place. And Roland, in some ways, it really freaked me out because they just come out of nowhere and they're hungry. You know what I mean? And so I wrote a book about it, but it was an inspiration because I saw them and I had to look at it from their perspective, because a lot of them they're not fed, they're underfed, they're competing for water. And you see water bowls a lot of places that people are feeding them, but you don't know, do they carry disease? I don't want to be judgmental, but I looked at it from their perspective. What would it be like to be an alley cat living in Greece? So I think we always get ideas from places if we're open.
100%, 100%. And what I love with my lifestyle is when I travel and I sit down. And the funny thing is, my favorite place is to write my book is on my Mac. Is I'm sitting on the stairs of my motorhome. Really, it's just on the stairs of my. I don't know why this is, but of course, most of the time I sit outside on a table when I work there, inside when it's raining. But writing books, I always sit on the stairs of my motorhome. I don't know why. A cup of coffee on the side, and I love writing. I look in the landscape, whatever's in front of me, and it's. I forget everything around, I forget everything around. Time is running, and sometimes I forget to eat or something like that. And then suddenly my dog, all over, she starts barking because I forgot about her to give her a walk or to feed her or something like that. Yeah, writing is an amazing journey. I love it 100%. And that's why, to be honest, I don't understand why people use, any AI to write the book 100% with AI. And obviously this is not writing, this is not being an author. Of course, you can use AI to help you editing or get ideas or something like that, or structure. But I think that the writing process itself, it's an amazing journey.
One of the things I would respond to that, because of so many people I've interviewed about this topic, is there is a certain amount of credibility that people have once they have a published book. So instead of handing out business cards, you can hand out your books. You can be in the back of the room signing. And I think people see that there is a reason to write and publish a book, but they don't actually want to do it. They actually just want it done for them. And I had a question about this come up when I was on a panel not that long ago. And someone said, I wrote the whole book with AI. And I said, actually, you didn't write the book. You realize that. And if Amazon or Ingram Spark or whatever platform, they do some kind of checks, I'm told. And if they find out, you'll be taken off their platform. So experience what it's like, even if it's not the best book. And people will say, well, some people have won awards. You have to submit your work for an award. I don't think people realize that. It's like with the Oscars, you have to submit. Someone has to submit on your behalf, because they don't have people out there just going, oh, we have 12 billion books. Let's read all of them and see what we think. So you don't have to have the idea of getting an award, but the idea of actually publishing something with your name on it is, when I look at this and I see my name on there, that's pretty cool. I'm sure you have the feeling. It's a really nice feeling. But when you're using a tool and you're using it in a way that it's not meant to be used, then you're basically taking the process and throwing it out the window.
Yeah, 100%. I would say, first of all, I love AI. I use AI. My training company, the Moodmark Academy, is running 100% with AI agents who do all the work for me. But this gives me the freedom and the time for creativity, to being creative, design new products for my clients, and of course working with my clients. So I love AI. That's not the point. But it's not for being creative. I think creative is still what we as humans, what distinguishes us as humans from many other species. And I always say, I had a conversation with a friend of mine who published a book, and it was 100% in AI. And he said, what do you think? And I said, it's like, because he comes from my area in Austria, where we have this pumpkin oil. I don't know, this pumpkin oil is very healthy for man, and it's made from pumpkin seeds. And this area, the people are very proud of their pumpkin oil. And I said to him, you know what? It's the same when what happens on large scale in supermarkets, importing all these pumpkins from China and then sell it as Styrian. It's cheating. That's cheating. It's not original. That's what, of course it's pumpkin oil. Of course, a written book is a book. Of course, it has letters and pages, maybe pictures, but it's kind of cheating. It's not you. And the short end of the story is, I did it almost 2 years ago. I don't know if you remember. I was booked into a co-working space for 1 month, and I was working there very focused. And then I had a day off, and I said, what I'm doing. It was raining. I said. And I was writing, I don't know, in 6 or 7 hours. What I was writing, I asked AI to write a book of a certain topic, and it gave me in 6 or 7 hours around 500 pages. My man came out in 6 or 7 hours, 500 pages. And then I started reading the first 2 pages and said, that's not me. That's not me. It was a fun experience. I understand how fast they can write a book. Of course, I don't know, it was 500 pages or something like that in 6, 7 hours. But I said, I'm never going to publish it. I destroyed it. I deleted it. But that's not me. I know you can train AI on your voice and stuff like that, but it's not the same. I think it's not the same. Actually, I think writing is kind of art, like making music or painting or whatever it is. And art should be a human, it should have been a human work. That's my belief.
I agree with you. I remember when I was writing my doctoral dissertation, which I actually have a copy of it. I found it in an old box. It's in my bookshelf. And I had to rewrite it 118 times. This was back in 2010 to 2011. My mentor basically said, you're not going to want to work with me because I'm not going to make it easy on you. And I thought, okay, bring it on. He was a Navy SEAL. I think he's passed away since then. But I rewrote it 118 times. There was no AI. It was me sitting there manually writing it. And I learned something from that process, which is, if you can ask AI, which I use AI all the time, but if you can ask AI to write a book and it can do it that quickly, it's going to make mistakes, and it's not authentic. It's not your voice. Even when I ask it to write something, or if I give it a scenario that I'm role playing with, it'll come back with information. I'll say, where did you get that? I didn't give you that. And, oh, you know what? I confused you. It'll say, I confused you with someone else. And it's written back to me. In my experience, what I've done is, and I write, you have no experience. You haven't done it. You're not a human. And then it writes back, oh, you're right. Like, come on, dude, or ma'am, or whomever, whatever you are, it's not accurate. Then one time it came back and said, I've advised my clients. I'm like, what clients? You don't have any clients. You're not a person. And then it'll come back and say, you're right. I shouldn't have stated that. But it takes on this personality. So my point is, if you're using it to create whatever it is you want to create in writing, for example, it's not your voice. You don't know where the voices are coming from. And then your name is on there. So just think about that and put the work in. No one's saying it has to be done by tomorrow. Sometimes, you mentioned you started yours 4 years beforehand, and it doesn't have to be put in the marketplace tomorrow. It's a matter of doing it when you feel it's up to par with what you feel is your voice.
Yeah. And I also, it's what people don't get who do this is they miss the journey. They miss the journey of creativity. They miss the journey of the writing. Sometimes the blood, sweat, and tears, and sometimes this pause where they think, okay, nothing is coming in my brain, and they miss this journey. And the question is, what's the motivation behind it? Really, you have to say something. You want to share something from the bottom of your heart, or you just want to release a book because it's hip or trendy or whatever. I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. And there's other ways to express yourself. It would be like if you are an artist and you put together this piece of work, but actually you didn't do it. It's like you could have a ghostwriter for a book, which is fine. We just interviewed someone who was a ghostwriter. But you have to say it was written by a ghostwriter at some point. I would think if you're having something else do your work for you, you have to at least give it credit. It's almost like being part of a team and you're the leader. When you stand up to take the award or the bow and the recognition, there's a whole group of people who helped you get there.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, let's continue on writing because it's an amazing journey. And the point is, when people say, I want to learn to write a book, it's like I won't become a speaker. Yeah, I have to join a speaker training. Hey, go on stage, be nervous, feel the stage fright, this horrifying stage fright. Go out there and feel it, because when you don't feel it, you're not a speaker. You are a speaker. You cannot, of course, you can learn to become a better, in communication, and of course you can always learn this, but become a speaker. You want it, go on fucking stage and talk your story, talk what's inside you and express it. And it's the same with writing.
So true. Roland, it brings up two experiences I had when I was in corporate. The one is much simpler, so I'll just go to that first, which was I was about to do a pitch for this client, and it was a multi-million-dollar pitch, and I had this beautiful PowerPoint deck. And so I got to their office, and of course now there were additional people coming, because when you're going to do the pitch, you've got the stakeholders and obviously the person who's going to make the decision. And they had a power failure, and so we couldn't use the computer. So it was just me, and they were there. They're like, wait, this is the time that we gave you. Go ahead. And fortunately, I knew it well enough because I was prepared because of something else that happened. But people fall apart. They're totally focused on whatever the tools are. It's that PowerPoint deck. What if I don't have the deck? What are you going to do? It's like, what if you don't have Wi-Fi? What are you going to do? Well, there are other options, but some people are so used to, well, I've got the router in my home and it's just not working. They don't want to hear any other ideas. So here's what I want to share. And I think I've shared this before with you, but I think it's really worth mentioning again. When I went to my last residency for my doctorate, it was out in Arizona, and there were 15 of us, and you don't really know anyone. And we ended up getting in 3 teams of 5. And we each got a business case, A, B, and C. And we had that day, that night, and then the next day we were presenting. Do you remember this story? Did I share it with you?
No. You're the first time.
So I, being the salesperson in my life, was asked to go first and last, because what we do, we open, we close. So each of us had our parts. And so it was time for our group to go. And we, as I mentioned, we met until the evening, the early morning, boom, here we are. So I get up there and blah, 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 blah. And I see the facilitator, the same person I just told you about from the Navy. And he's got this small 3x5 card, and he's in the back of the room like this. I have no idea what this says. So I'm like, I don't know. So I just keep talking. So he keeps coming closer and closer and closer. And on there, please sit down. So I just keep going. And now he comes right up to this stage to my face. And so I stopped and I said, do you want me to sit down? And he didn't say anything. So I sit down, and now he points to the second person and tells them to move over. So now they're moving into my spot. So they quickly start going through the slides because they have no idea what the slides were that I was going to say. So he holds up the card. Please sit down. Second person sits down. So now the third person, same thing, moves over. He takes the laptop and he closes it, and he just stands there. And the third person had no idea what the first 2 people were going to say. So it ended up, we never got to do our presentation. And people went crazy. They wanted the dean to come in. People were furious. And so his point was, you need to know every aspect of the presentation like it's your own, like no one else is coming, like you have no tools. And you know what? I never forgot that. And that's why when we have a show like Unscripted, we're not relying on anything except the chemistry between the 2 of us and the fact that we understand what television requires, right? And we've got extensive experience. But people were devastated. And the dean came in, I think it was like a day or two later. People wanted their money back, and the dean had to review the whole thing. And the dean said that it was appropriate, that we do not just have one role in life. We need to understand the bigger picture. And then in business and in life, that's what you need to understand. But for so many people, we're just focused on our own little segment. This is my role. This is what I do. So you've been a business coach for years. What are your thoughts about what I just shared?
Oh my gosh, how much time do we have? Yeah. Actually, this is what I see in this world, is that we have so many specialists on a small niche, on a small part, and then they're fighting against the other department who represent another niche, and it's their world, and it's their only world, and they don't see the whole thing. I think a lot of people lost the ability of really see the whole story, the whole thing. They're just focused on small parts, and they dig deeper and deeper and deeper, and then they feel so comfortable and so cozy in their own area and so freaking scared about other things that they fight against other. And I saw it so many times for all these large enterprises and organizations I was working, is the small little worlds within the whole one, and forgetting that they're all sitting in one boat. And I think it's what you mentioned. It starts in school, in universities, that we have to really open up your mind and get the whole thing, and not just this section or this part. Yeah, I see it very often, and I think it's so important. And that's what I learned as a coach. I never was a specialist on something, but I had a deep understanding of the whole thing. That's why I was so successful as a coach. No matter which industry they invited me to train their people, because I always got an understanding. Of course, I prepared myself, but I said, okay, I have to have an overview. I have to understand in which industry, I have to understand their market. I have to understand their clients, but not the details. That's not my job. In the details, they're the experts. And I think that's also important, that we understand the whole stuff. And the same in politics, and when we talk about world affair or whatever thing, people just see their small little world and are pissed off when somebody else has a different opinion.
Right on. And I'll just add to that this one piece about health, for example. You have something going on and you Google it. You look it up and you go, oh my God, it could be this, 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 this. But you're not taking in the whole picture because you're not a medical expert. You're just looking something up and you have one symptom. And that's the same thing in business. It's the same thing in life. And people get so zoned in on that one thing instead of literally taking a step back and looking at all the variables. And I think that's one of the things that really is another determination between how people can be successful, who's successful, and what's missing, that people aren't successful because they're just focused on niche areas instead of the bigger picture.
100%. And by the way, it fits in because we had a little short conversation about AI. I was churning an international audit, thousands of people, and there was a professor talking. The professor broke from, I don't know, Stanford or Harvard University. He's teaching happiness. Interesting topic. He's teaching about happiness. It's all about happiness in life. And he was talking about why he's using AI and what it's good and what it's not good for. And so, and there they got me on AI. And it's because in the beginning I said, no, I want to lose my creativity. I'm not in. But he got me. And what he said is, for complicated things, use AI, it's perfect. It helps you. It's much faster. It's much better for things that are complicated. But things who are complex, it's about us as human beings. And that's what we have to understand. Complicated things like creating a business plan or a training plan, or I don't know, doing some drawings because you plan a house as an architect or something like that, or whatever, or calculate your insurance for your car, whatever. This is complicated things. AI can help you and it can do it much faster. But complex things, like relationships, communications, art, as we said, all this stuff. These are complex things. That's about the humans, and I think that's a good, for me, it's a good explanation where AI can help me and support me, and where I am asked as a human being with my mind, with my heart, with my creativity, is the complex things. And then I think then it can be a good cooperation between AI and us as human beings.
Excellent point, Roland. Thank you. We have your contact details up on the screen, but I know you just referenced a new chapter of your work. How can people reach out and who can contact you? How?
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, my email is still the same. It's my website is still the same, rolandfriedl.com, and my email is, if you want to contact me, is office@rolandfriedl.com. And maybe you heard it from this talk or from other talks. I've been traveling around the world and supporting for over 30 years big organizations in learning and development. Or I trained their sales staff, I trained their management and their leaders and stuff like that. I did it for 30 years. And then I had a short break. I was writing books and I'm doing TV, but I still continue. And besides that, because as I mentioned it in this talk, is my own company is running 100% on AI agents. They're working and supporting me 24/7, but it's pretty cool. And I can focus on my creativity and my interaction with my clients. And so some of my business friends said, hey, Roland, this is an amazing opportunity to support small scale company. Not big organization I did in the past with 10,000 of people, small size enterprises with 10, 15, 20, 30 people, to support them and to spare them on introducing an AI to their company to make them faster and more efficient so they don't lose ground against the competitors who use AI. That's what I'm doing.
Well, that's quite significant. Congratulations on that and your consistent evolution.
Yeah, that's the point. When something is not working anymore for some reason, people are standing there, do something different. Get out. What people, I think at the end, it's all about the client. And that's what I'm not a huge Amazon fan, but I love their customer support. It's just perfect. But what Jeff Bezos said in the beginning, he found out that what others are not, other companies, I guess he started with books or shoes or something. He said, okay, I want to live it as far. So, but he was, disrupting the strategy of other companies. That's what he did. He was disrupting the strategy and brought something new. And that's what I think is, when something is not working, you can complain or whatever, do or feel like a victim or whatever. Or you go out and say, okay, what is missing? What do others not as good at you? What are customers missing? What you can do better, bring on a better, and then go in the market and do something new. Exactly. Why not? I love it. Yeah.
What can I learn from this? What should I be able to interpret, and where's the solution? So our solution is that we are saying goodbye right now, and we will be back next week with our next show. Roland, thank you so much for being here, and we'll look forward to your German shows tomorrow.
I try my best tomorrow, but no, sorry. Tomorrow is Tuesday. I forgot it. Tomorrow I have to pick up my girlfriend's daughter. I have to drive 2 hours. So unfortunately, there are no shows tomorrow, but I'm finding another day to bring them on.
All right, fantastic. We'll look forward to it. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you again soon. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honored to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA-Global-TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.
What if many of the problems we associate with aging are not random? What if there are identifiable causes behind declining energy, chronic disease, and memory problems? We have been told that aging is simply something we must accept, that slowing down is normal, that growing older means growing weaker. But what if that's only part of the story? Why do some people remain active and engaged well into their later years? Why do others struggle with disease, fatigue, and declining health? What is happening beneath the surface? What processes drive aging? In Aging Sucks, researcher, educator, and author Red O'Loughlin explores what researchers have discovered about why we grow older. No medical degree required, no confusing jargon, just clear explanations of what researchers have discovered about the processes that influence aging. You cannot stop aging, but understanding its causes may help you make better decisions about your health, your future, and your quality of life. Because understanding comes before action. Action creates hope. Aging sucks. End the guesswork. There is hope.